We're going to talk about evaluating functions, and functions are normally going to be written as a polynomial. So for example, they'll write something like f of x equals x cubed plus 5x squared. So the way you read this is it's called f of x. That's signifies a function. F of x equals x cubed plus 5x squared. And what they might ask you is, what is f of 2? That's how you would read that. So all you're going to do with this is here you can see x is in the parentheses. Here there's a 2. So instead of an x in this, we're going to substitute it with a 2. So in a way you can think of it as x equals 2 and then evaluate that. So f of 2, all you do is substitute this 2 in for the x. So you just say instead of x cubed, you're going to go 2 cubed plus 5 times, instead of x squared, it's going to be 2 squared. Then you're just going to evaluate this. So you need to know the order of operations. If you don't know what that means, you need to watch the video on that. So you're just going to evaluate this. What's 2 cubed? 8 plus 5 times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4 equals 8 plus 20 equals 28. So the answer to this question, what is f of 2, is 28. All you're doing is instead of an x, every time you see an x, you're going to replace it with what's in here, a 2. So the other way you might see this written, and for our purposes really makes no difference, is they might write it with a capital F, equals x squared minus 3x plus 7. What is f of 3? So again, instead of an x, you're just going to put a 3 in every time you see an x. So instead of x squared, you're going to say 3 squared. 3 times, instead of x, 3. Because remember, 3x means 3 times x, plus 7. Then you just evaluate that. 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 7. 9 minus 9 plus 7 just equals 7. So the answer, what is f of 3? It's 7. We'll do one more. F of x equals x squared plus 3x minus 5. What is f of negative 2? So you can have negative numbers in here as well. Whatever is in here is what you're going to substitute in for that x. So negative 2 squared instead of x squared plus 3 times negative 2 minus 5. Negative 2 squared is 4. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 minus 5. 4 minus 6 is negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. Let me do one more thing. So this is really the kind of questions you're most likely to get. But just to show you, if you had f of, let's just say 1 plus y, you would replace every x with 1 plus y. So it's the same process. Just because this is more complicated, you still do the same thing. So it would be 1 plus y squared plus 3 times 1 plus y minus 5. Now here you need to know a little bit of algebraic processes and polynomial processes. If you go back and look at some of these things, how do you do 1 plus y squared? It's 1 plus y. There's a video on how we do FOIL. And so I'll just do it quickly here. 1 plus, you're going to end up with 2y plus y squared. So 1 plus y squared is 1 plus 2y plus y squared. And then you're going to use the distributive property to figure this out. So if you don't know what that means, go back and watch the video on mathematical properties. So 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times y is 3y, minus 5. So now we have a big polynomial. So if you don't know how to deal with this to reduce it, you need to watch the video on polynomials. But basically we're just going to group the y squareds together, which we only have 1. We have 2y plus 3y. We have 5y. Then we have 1 plus 3 minus 5. 1 plus 3 is 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So f of 1 plus y equals this. This is what your answer is. You probably won't get something necessarily that complicated, but just so you know, anything that's in these parentheses, that's what you put in for the x. It's probably going to be just a simple number, but it doesn't matter. You do the same process. Whatever is in here, you put that in for the x. And also, don't get caught up that it has to be x. This could say f of y equals y squared 3y. What is f of 2? It's the same thing. It's just using a y. So instead of a y, you put a 2 in, and you solve it the same way.